You just, I mean, you have to watch what you say.
Wow,
So,
sis,
and I know that's not calling someone.
but you know,
So, I
I'm
mean,
glad that you said it like that because it it goes to the point that communication, although you all are speaking English, the way we communicate things. Like for me, I learned that when I talk to people in Ghana, or if I talk to Ghanaians, even Ivorians or Guineans, I always ask, "Do you understand what I'm saying?" Yeah. Okay. Can you tell me what I'm saying? Okay. So when they repeat it to me, okay. So
verbalize
what does
what
that
you
mean?
think I mean.
Exactly. So sometimes it may take going over something several times to make sure that you understand that. And like I like to use the example of one of the sisters in Ghana when she was having her house built. She um, she talked about how she had a trusted person there. She had did all of the right things, but when they talked about what she wanted, she was saying, I want a great room, I want this, I want that. And she was using the terms that we know. So when she got back to Ghana, she literally had a house twice the size of what she was calling for. Because a great room in the sense that they knew was something totally different than what she was talking about. A great room just mean an open space where you can see the living room, the kitchen, and the dining room. It's all one big space that's separated only small. So it was those kinds of things that you know got me learning that you have to just really talk and communicate and recommunicate things.
And another thing I kind of wanted to put out there that look how long we have been here in the US. We are speaking the same English as the people that we're living under,
Right.
and we still don't understand each other.
Wow.
So, what you think about somebody that,
That's true.
number one, English is their second language? It's
Most of
not
the time, yeah.
even their brain does not think in English. Their brain is thinking in their native tongue.
It's true.
Now, me and you, we're not speaking the same type of English all the time. What
Right.
you think about somebody that hasn't been through the I don't even know what you call it, but someone that has not had the same experiences that we have shared as coming from enslaved Africans.
Right.
So I mean, I think we need to be patient with each other. I think one of the mistakes that I did make is I think when you go to Africa, you need to be strong and not feeble. I know when I went to Africa when I was pregnant, we talked about that. I was very feeble. I have really bad pregnancies. Like I can't do nothing for myself. My brain don't even I can't even put together a meal. It's crazy. And so I needed people to do things for me that normally I wouldn't even need nobody to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you say this is clean. This ain't clean.
Yeah.
Now she's been cleaning for somebody, maybe like a Lebanese or somebody. I'm like, look, that ain't clean. Let me show you. And
Right.
then and it's like, look, so I would say this time around, I'm not gonna do business right away. I'm
Right.
not gonna try to get somebody to work for me right away.
Right.
because I don't want to offend. I need to try to get to know someone through a mutual friend, a mutual sister, a trusted person. So when the person comes in, they have they've been briefed
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
They have an understanding already.
Mm-hmm.
Because we done been well polished in cleaning.
Right.
We done been well polished in the type of work that we had to do. The bullwhip was very effective. We
Right.
had to get it right. We couldn't do it wrong. You risk death if you upset the person that you was working for.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, we didn't get paid. We just started
Right.
getting paid 80, 90 years ago.
Right.
So it's a this and so most of the people that we're gonna be dealing with understand something. These are free people. And I know people don't like that language. They are free people. They
Right.
have a village, they have land. They're not gonna be evicted if they don't work for you.
Right. Right.
So their work ethic is going to reflect the fact that there's no consequence for poor performance. And I'm not
Exactly.
saying anything negative. I'm just telling you. Now, me, if I go to work and I don't do XYZ, and see, I have to work harder and I have to work even better than
Absolutely.
somebody else, if you understand me.
Absolutely.
Because if I go before the board of nursing, I promise you, it ain't gonna end well for me. Even if it's a small
A
mistake,
small
I could
infraction.
lose everything. One infraction.
Yep.
So we have that on our minds all the time. It's the consequences. The consequence is the shadow that always follows you.
Yeah,
And so,
I'm glad you mentioned that because just so people understand, like a lot of people have take issue with us having house help or house assistance when we go to the continent. Um, I don't think a lot of people really understand like the dynamics of how things are on the continent, and that's normal. Um, and like you said, when you're dealing with people who what I came to the realization was that the work ethic is very different from ours. And it's very different from ours because, like you said, there aren't any consequences. You're not going to end up homeless for the most part. I'm not going to say it's all situations, but for the most part, people that may work for you are not going to end up homeless if they don't work for you. Um, so there's not an incentive to do really good work. Now, with that being said, what I have come to notice is that if the person is not from the country, like for instance, I had a house assistant who I love to death. She's still in my, I still, like I called her when I was in the Ivory Coast. She's from the Ivory Coast, but she was living in Ghana. And she was hired to work for a company that I was working for a couple of years ago, back in 2016 when I was in Ghana. I hired her to work with us, to work for the guy who it was his company, and I hired her in his in the business that we were in, and she was our house assistant and the cook, and as an Ivorian being in Ghana, she has to pay rent. She has to, she has to keep a roof over her head. So her work ethic was very different than it was for the people who, for some of the people, because we had many Ghanaians working for us that were hardworking people who were well educated and all of that stuff. But I know for her, the house assistant that I had to fire, she was Ghanaian, and she was very lax in the way that she approached the job. And it was like I need you to come to work, and you can't just not come to work and then show up and want your paycheck in full. But the Ivorian lady, baby, when I tell you she cleaned that place, she cleaned stuff that I didn't even know was dirty. The way she cleaned, I was just like, oh, like I ain't mean for you to go all under that. You pulling out stuff that I ain't know needed to be pulled out. So I think the work ethic, it is different under the circumstances that the person is in. So she had to pay rent to somebody. She had to, go in the market and get her food and all. Like, her life depended on whether she had a job or not. Granted, she could go back to the Ivory Coast and not have the same situation, but living in Ghana, she needed to make sure that she kept a roof over her head. So that was my same experience in Guinea. Was the house assistant that we had and my nanny were they were Liberian. So as Liberians, they needed to pay rent. They didn't have land and somewhere that they could just call home or whatever. They had somebody they had to pay. So the work ethic was different. So I think that we have to keep that in context of when we're like you said, these people, when you're in Ghana or when you're in the Gambia and you're hiring people that's from these places, they don't have, these are free people who they're not going to get evicted if they don't work. They're not going to end up homeless.
We are the ones that are primarily under the gun. And so that's how I approach it. And I know that. So I think, and I'm going to be honest with you, I think a lot of people who think that they're educated are not. And you can see it in the way that they're responding to the local continental Africans. Because it's just some stuff you just don't do. Like for real.
Right.
Right. And I mean, I'm going to tell you, I eat humble pie. This is something, like I told you, in my orphaned years. And I say that because I want people to understand that I had to learn how to be flexible. I had to learn how to get along. I was an only child. I never had sisters and brothers from my mother.
Right.
So I was always the oddball out.
Yep.
I'm used to that. And one way I learned is do not offend. Don't be obnoxious.
Yes.
Because if you're obnoxious, people, and then they can be sitting there planning to kill you. They're probably not.
Say that.
But they could be sitting there planning to kill you.
And
dummy.
The thing is,
why you think you laughing and you got some little effigy or some little mimicry that you done came up with, you think it's funny? Be careful.
And the thing is, it's like
stress that
you put yourself in such a vulnerable situation when you're on the other side of the world. You have no idea about nothing. It's not like here, if I move to, say, New York, it's likely that I might be able to find somebody that I know in New York without too much effort. It's likely. If I move to Wisconsin, I don't know nobody in Wisconsin, but it's likely that my family could get to me easier because we right here in the same on the same continent. But you on the other side of the world, you by yourself, you you know, you don't have a foundation, and you go and you just you insult people. We just can't do that. We can't afford to do that. Not only because it just looked bad on us as a community, but just for safety's sake. Like, just for the sake of safety, you wouldn't go into somebody else's community. Like, I wouldn't move to, let's say, Houston, and be talking mess about the people in Houston. I wouldn't be, going in on, be all on the internet, going in on them. Houston this, Houston that, Houston, Houston, Houston. These people in Houston, they stupid, they slow, they all of this stuff. I could expect that somebody may get offended, and somebody might be so offended that they might want my head.
Hands, and people will put hands. And so I just try to steer clear of that because there's other ways to get my points across
Absolutely.
than to offend. You can't get anywhere if you are offending people. And, I managed to get this far. For all intents and purposes, I'm pretty successful. I'm what you would consider to be pretty much successful in the US. And so I didn't get here by offending people.
Right.
I
Right.
assure you.
Right.
I had to receive, let me tell you, I had to rely on the good grace of strangers. I had to rely on mercy from strangers. So that's a certain type of humility. Now, I had a couple of repat brothers that tried some foolishness.
Let's talk about that, because a lot of times people think that people like to try to act like it's the continental Africans that you have to worry about so much. But I say that it's actually the people who come from the place that you're from that you may have to be paying close attention to.
You better know it. But I will say this: I think that we need to watch the expectations. I have a high level of integrity.
Yeah.
But what I learned is that people that say that they are this and that could be not, like Danny Glover said. So we need to be careful with that. Now I wasn't strong armed, but I don't feel that I got what I paid for. I did not get the services that I paid for. A balance is owed, but I won't get it. You know what I mean? I won't get it. And so this is not really something unique to the local continental Africans. I'll give you a really good example because we talked about the word fix, meaning 5, 6 different things. After Hurricane Katrina, there were contractors that said they were going to fix, got paid to fix, did not fix. So it happens.
So
it happens
when
everywhere.
When you speak of services that you didn't get, just to be clear, did you hire the services of a person who was a Black American who was living in what place, and they didn't render the services that they should have?
You know what? I think that I was gullible at that time.
Okay.
I think I was sick, and I didn't count my money when he gave it to me, so I don't know what he took. So I think I put myself in a bad situation to where I can't really tell you what he took. But I know I didn't get a clean room Once I got to Medina by, oh, I know that. I know that he had me staying in somebody's house where they were there as well, and which now to some people that's okay. But you thinking your sheets is freshly washed. But see, this person is not thinking like that. You don't know if this person was a street person before they got to wherever they are now. So
Yeah.
even though I'm thinking I'm getting ready to be in my own environment that's moderately clean, one, I'm in somebody else's house, but I ain't figured it out yet because I'm just so happy to see the person. And then once we get to where we're going, he leaves me in the hands of some other people that takes me to a filthy room. And the first thing I did was pull the sheets back. The mattress, filthy, filthy. I paid for food. I left. So he was like, well, sister, you didn't give me a chance to feed you because you left. Hell yeah, I left. Because I'm like, brother, number one, I didn't pay them. I paid you. Why would you leave me with them? But he thought they was going to take me to a nice place. And it may have been nice to them. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You have to
Yeah.
get a clear understanding. And really, what you need to do is just, and this is where dealing with tried and tested people, like that person already kind of had some rumors out on them anyway. But I wasn't, that was my Muslim brother. I didn't want to hear that. I'm like, it's negative, that's hating. You know how we think.
Yeah.
And so I will say this, that it was me and my daughter, and then he was like, I didn't know you was so high class. High class. And so he tried to kind of make me feel like that's so those were his exact words. I didn't, wow, sister, I didn't know that you was so high class, that the Sheikh's place ain't good enough for you. Number one, you don't even know what it looks like. You weren't there. You weren't, yeah, I left before you could get back. So that happened. But I will tell you, when I went to Ghana the first time, can I say her name? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say her name. But that sister had it laid out. She had me in a nice place. She knew what my expectations were. Like she knew what not to do. She just didn't know what I wanted. She knew what I didn't want.
Right.
So
Right.
that was kind of like, it was,
And who
I
is that
had no
that who are we
problems.
talking about? Sorry.
Well, it was
I do
Sister
want to know.
Empress. Was
Oh yeah, she's
handling
really great.
my.
She's really great.
She wasn't playing. She wasn't
She's
playing,
no,
and she
she's
was,
absolutely really great with making sure that people get what they need. Like she's good at that.
yes, she was. She was right, and so I have no interest in lying on someone.
Yeah.
But like I can't say exactly what was took because I hadn't done no research on the safer. I just know I gave him a certain amount of money. He gave me a wad of money. I was like, ooh.
You didn't
So
know what the
that
money
happened,
looked like.
and
Yeah.
once I got to Gambia, my brother was like, "Where the money at?" Like, see, like, where's the money? Like, shoot, I thought this was left. So that happened, and so
Yeah.
we have to be very careful of. And then it's kind of painful because he's parading around on all of the shows with different people, like he's so filled with integrity, and I'm just like, okay. Maybe, and see, he probably wouldn't do another brother like that. So he may not. Nobody may not see the side that I saw. I hope they
Yeah.
don't. But on a self accountability note, next time I will be handling some of my own business. I won't be just giving nobody no money, telling them go exchange my money for me.
Right.
Just stuff like that.
And making sure that
So
you understand, like it's important that you understand the conversion rates and all of that stuff. And even if it take you a few more minutes to figure it out, like how much money should I have? Like I know for me, usually before I exchange my money, I have an app on my phone, and I'll always go on my phone and I'll pull up the I'm gonna show you the currency. Can you see that?
The conversion. I can't. It's glowing.
It's glowing, but I usually pull out the conversion thing, and I have all of the places that I go to. I have it on here, so I'll put it. I'll go ahead, throw in them dollars real quick, so I know what I should get. Because it's gonna be a little bit different, but so then I'm gonna count it out right now. And of course, you might throw somebody a little something, something, but you ain't gonna take me for a ride. But it's kind of one of those things where you live and you learn and you move on. So with that being said, you've decided that you're gonna be coming to Ghana. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you about is there's this thing that I hear people say, and that's like you said, the guy was saying to you that he didn't know that you were so high class, right? A lot of times we have people who they ask us, how much is it going to cost to move to Ghana? How much is it going to cost to make this move and all of this stuff? I never give anybody a price because I know for sure, for one, I don't even know. And two, I have a big family. Me and you have a similar situation. We got a bunch of little children, and we have a different, like my version of being comfortable versus your version of being comfortable may be totally different. So, you hear a lot of people saying, oh, when you move to Africa, you need to be able to live like it. They pretty much put it like you shouldn't have such high expectations of your living situation. And I want you to kind of tell me, in your preparation for going to Ghana, how do you feel about making sure that, like, what would it look like for you to be able to be comfortable when you make your move? I'll say that. That's my question.
Well, I will tell you, a family of 5, you better not be playing. This is a cash society. This is a pay as you go thing. I think that people are listening to single men, single women who are leaving on an income tax check. I don't advise that. Okay? That is what is happening.
Sorry.
2 years later,
That's
6
not
months
funny, but it's true. It's true.
Yes, it is.
It's true.
8 months later, 12 months later, go fund me.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, me and you both have had to help some people out. Like we've collaborated and helped.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
Repeatedly. And they were single people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess for me, what I'm looking at is, okay, I own my home here. Okay. Now this ain't the Taj Mahal. You see them brown 1980s walls? Let's keep it real. This is a country home. This is
but it's yours.
This is in my means.
It's yours.
Huh? It is mine. And so I'm going to be honest with you. Now, I had a plan, a 2-3 year plan to come with anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000. Because one, I need to have enough money to put into the bank or treasury bills so that I can live off interest. I want to build a home. I want to have transportation, and I want to have several tens of thousands to work with if I see something I want to invest in the coming future, 2 years or so, and then a little something to have money for emergency medical care,
Mm-hmm.
a dowry for my children to
Mm-hmm.
marry. Nobody, don't nobody want no broke American or African American for marriage. So I was thinking
And
of
you do
that.
have sons, so you do need to think of that.
That's right. And they have to be able to get the little suitcase full of stuff, don't they?
They do.
Isn't that the culture?
Yeah,
Look,
yeah.
we got to
If
be
they gonna
able to
marry, if
come
they're gonna
there.
marry a Ghanaian, I mean, or a continental, that just may be the requirements, and you have to be prepared for that. So,
That's
and
right.
that's why it's important that we I think we kind of observe and learn and try to figure out how we get in where we fit in type of situation, because for the most part it seems like people say that they don't want it, they not coming to Ghana to have America, but then the kind of complaints that you get is all because people aren't getting what it is that they're used to. They're not having that open mind that it takes to kind of just take a deep breath and remember that you are not in Kansas anymore, so to speak,
Well,
So
the thing about it is we deserve to be comfortable. We have
exactly
built we have built the industrial world.
the industrial world, exactly.
Why can I not be comfortable?
I
Oh,
I mean,
so that's how I look at it. I
it's
mean, I'm coming there to be comfortable, not be like I am here with just enough money to live and maybe have a little something extra and a little nest egg to splurge. I'm looking to actually have a life changing experience. I want to have influence in my
you
community.
want to
I
live the
want to
African
serve.
dream.
Yeah, I want to live well. That's what
Exactly.
I'm working for. My people have worked. I've worked. I've put my time in. Okay.